You're listening to the Badger State Ball Podcast with Prep Baseball Wisconsin, breaking down the top high school prospects and featuring all things college baseball recruiting in a changing world. Hosted by Vinny Rotino, Josh Fields, and Andy Sroka, this is Badger State Ball.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Badger State Ball Podcast here with myself, Andy Sroka. We got Josh Fields with us, Vinny Rotino, Nick DiBenedetto with us today as well. I'm going to be back again. This is our, third straight week recording this, so we're hoping to keep this thing pretty regular, weekly in and out for the remainder of the offseason for sure. So we, in consecutive weeks here, we touched on the 2027s, 2028s, or 2026s, I should say, 2027s, which brings us to today and the 2028s. Although before Vinny, I guess, before we dig into that, we've had this informal Brewers segment here at the top. Obviously not the way you want to go out. Yeah, hopefully we didn't jinx anything with the podcast, but I don't think we did. But any final thoughts here on the Brewers, just to kind of put a button on it?
Yeah, well, it's not in the rundown here for what we were going to talk about on the show to lead off, but I will, just because, you did want to just kind of move on, put it to bed, look forward already to next season, not really talk about what happened in the NLCS, not really even acknowledge it. So it was just a tough series to kind of have such a great year and then to end it like that with the sweep against the Dodgers. Look, I'm not even sure the way that the Dodgers were playing, that the Brewers really even had a shot. Even if the game one, kind of the breaks kind of went the Brewers' way in that game one where they loaded the bases in the ninth inning against the Dodgers bullpen, I'm not real sure that even if they win that game, they're not going to lose in five. Just the way that the Dodgers played that series. And look, I'm rooting for any American League team that emerges. By the time that you guys are listening to this podcast, we'll know who kind of emerged from the American League Championship Series. Whoever that is, I'm rooting for him like heck because I don't want to see the Dodgers win a back-to-back World Series right now.
Yeah, no, I get that. I feel like such a narc because I kind of respect the Dodgers or something on some level. So I'm like, all right. Well, I mean, I know that they feel like the '90s Yankees or something with the checkbook, but at the same time, you kind of respect some of the developmental things going on behind the scenes and that sort of thing. But they're pretty easy to root against. So I can also see that side of the argument too. Well, there's no easy transition from there, Vinny. So we'll just go right into it here with the 2028s we want to talk about today. So these are sophomores in the state of Wisconsin now. It's just yet again, you get to see when these new young up and coming classes get through that freshman year. That's always just kind of an interesting jumping off point. I've said this on different podcasts before too, but the learning lessons for me over the years have been you always expect, no matter the number one ranked freshman in the state, something like that. I always anticipated that player always hits the ground running and they're one of the best players in the state right away, that sort of thing. But even then, in a state like Wisconsin that, it's this cold weather state, all these kids play different sports, that sort of thing. Even then, there's still this learning curve for these kids at that age. But it's fun to see that progress made between freshman and sophomore year, which now this past summer, fall, getting to see the progress, the progression from these guys. The most recent rankings update kind of reflects that. One of the biggest talking points, I think, just looking from the wide lens out of this 2028 class in the state, and Fields, you could speak more to this, but it just feels like more wide open, I guess, than it has been in the most recent classes in 2026 and 7s, just having talked about it in the last 2 weeks. But I wrote it here kind of in my show notes, just that it feels like the separation between the top 1, 2, 3 players in the state and the top 15, and you could probably even go deeper than that. It's just way tighter. The margin there has just been tighter than years past. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I know when we updated this the last time, it was who are we going to put one, who are we going to put in the top 10. Really, just the order of the top 10 was just kind of a fun exercise to go through, but yeah, I mean, I know we kind of kept some things the same in the top 10, Brady Pachaka at number 1. I mean, we've always loved the way this kid can, catch the game and, just high IQ, can really handle spin, velo, Secondary's moving into his glove side, away from his glove side, control the run game. And, there's also just some stuff to, look forward to. Like, he already has a 97 EV, and, he doesn't look like the strongest kid out there. I mean, he's only 5'11", 170 pounds, like, freshman. So, like, sophomore now. So, like, you can just see how, like, these are what these guys do really well now, and, like, where are, like, the improvements, the lowest hanging fruits, like, how just, like, following along and seeing what gets better over the years.
Yeah, and what's cool with this group, it just kind of the bigger picture and the general overview of, like, watching how this group kind of settles in here, going into their very important sophomore season, right, is, like, for me, now this is my fourth year as the Wisconsin state director, is, like, taking a look at how these guys develop from when we see them first at the junior future games and then to now. I got to admit, like, we do a pretty good job of kind of, like, really nailing down, the top players in the class and kind of understanding, like, who should be ranked. And then there's other guys that, of course, emerge over the years as well. But, that's what we see. We kind of see that play out here in this class. But like you said, to your point, Andy, it's, like, really tight, this tight ranking of these groups. I don't know if you can really separate these guys too much. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's not, like, a big cliff or huge different tiers of players right now. I mean, we're gonna see that does play itself out here. Like I said, this important sophomore season, and I think we will we'll witness that here going into the winter and the spring.
Yeah, and Fields, you brought up Braden Pachaka, McQuanago catcher, but, like, I think he kind of sums up the way we almost had to whittle this down, in the sense of, like, because there wasn't necessarily that separation between 1 and even 3, like, in some classes in typical years. Like, then that's kind of where, like, the positional specialties kind of come into play, like the fact that Pachaka has, like, really shown himself to be, like, an advanced, like, level receiver, blocker behind the plate. Like, he kind of does, like, all of the little things. Like, you feel really, really confident about him catching and calling a game. Like, he really, really cares about his defense, and with how important that position is, like, you just, every year it's almost like the very first question, even before shortstops, I feel like recruiting coordinators in college, like, they're kind of making sure that they have the catcher position covered. And then when you have a player like Braden, it makes it a lot easier to put him at 1 just because of that, his caliber of defense. Of course, he does a ton offensively as well, and that's why he is at number 1. But when you're talking about separation and the margins here, like, we're kind of looking up the middle, which you hear a lot: catcher, shortstop, center field. But Braden's, like, his IQ, I guess, behind the plate, we really like a lot of the things he does. He's also really tough at bat. On top of it, like, his approach is really, really good at the plate. So keeping him at number 1 inside this most recent update felt like it was easier to get to that decision, I guess, was my point here. But at number 2, moving up, Maddox Welzine, shortstop from West Bend West. Really athletic shortstop pairing at West Bend West with Welzine and Ryan Rose. That's a pretty special combination right there. But Fields, you saw Welzine in the spring, which I'm sure we've talked about in previous podcasts, but maybe you want to bring it back up here to the forefront, because I think that helps set the table for why he climbed up to number 2 in the state.
Yeah, I think we feel really good about this glove right here. I mean, you mentioned the athlete, one of the top athletes in the class, and, like, I still think, like, he's even going to get twitchier, faster, and, like, just stronger. Like, I mean, kind of a wiry frame, but, like I said, twitchy and athletic, and I think there's room for more. He's going to be really pick it, and the bat has seemingly ticked up. I mean, there was already some bats of ball there, but he was driving the ball into the gap, both gaps, more consistently this summer, and there's already some leverage there, so you can kind of see with he keeps on the trend of getting stronger, getting more athletic and twitchy and explosive. You could see him start to drive some balls over the fence, and we're talking about a shortstop that can really handle it with the bat then as well.
Yeah, and we talked about, we always talk about baseball IQ, and this kid has it, and then some. And I remember at the junior future games when we were watching and trying to figure out, like, man, we got a lot of pretty good infielders on this team. Who's going to go ahead and kind of emerge as our infielder? This was a couple summers ago, and it was like kind of not a no-brainer, but like this kid really stood out, talking about the glove that Fields just mentioned. I mean, this is a real shortstop up the middle, is going to stick there. And, I mean, he's 157 pounds right now, and he's just going to this kid's got quite the ceiling once he does fill out and just get stronger.
Yeah, and the best part about, like, the state games, honestly, is getting to see these players play against classes, like, older than themselves. Like, so these 28s got to play against 26s and 27s. And Welzine, getting to watch him defensively against some of these guys or next to these guys in the workout session really kind of helped, like, put into perspective, like, okay, we liked him defensively, but it felt like he was one of the best gloves there, period, it just made it that much, gave us a little bit more confidence, I guess, to move him up the rankings. And given his athleticism, and like Fields mentioned too, he's stronger than you might first expect as well. Like Welzine, definitely one of the top takeaways of the summer fall here. Moving him up to 2 felt a little bit easier there. Carter Unger, his state games look, speaking of the state games, was like super impressive. Not that, I feel like every time we see him, he's really impressive. Fields was on it as well in the spring. Like he wanted to shove him up the rankings, I think, way back then, and we ultimately did here in this most recent update. But 6'2", 170 pounds, been up to 87. Like more, what would you say, feel like more like an 82, 84, I guess, typically. But I mean, it's really easy regardless. And like the secondaries, I think, are the thing that separates him from everybody else.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he'll flash those, up those bigger numbers in the mid to upper 80s, earlier in the outings. But once he figures out how to get you out, he just kind of cruises at 82, 84, and it's still really tough out. There's 3 pitches. There's field to throw 3 pitches to, both-handed batters. That changeup is, it's one of his favorite pitches. He doesn't get to throw it as much, but he's immensely confident in, like, his changeup, and that's just his 3rd pitch. So, like, the slider's already picked up a bunch of swing and misses, and like we said, the fastball, it can get outs, it can get weak contact, and there's a lot more in the tank, in velo.
If you think about it too, guys, if you take a look at maybe a Peter Cuso or Tyson Grukowski and what they might have looked like at the same age, I mean, this might be even a better look, at the same age than those 2 guys. That if scouts are scouting, pro scouts are scouting this age group, and they come across this video, they're going to put a bookmark on this on this look right here. I mean, it's super easy. It's impressive. He can spin a breaking ball. It's a 2-plane breaker. And then, there is clearly, I mean, if you were going to try and project on a guy who's going to throw, he'll throw in the 90s at some point in his life just because of how he does it and in the body and the athlete right here. I mean, you would project on that for sure. I mean, this is about a slam dunk as it gets in terms of a velocity increase at some point. So really good look from Carter. And he's at 3 right now, but this kid could end up being 1 at some point.
Yeah, no, for sure. It felt it felt like the sky was the limit for him, especially at the state games. He just had a great look, in particular at state games. Gavin Smith, Illinois guy, was on his field. He flagged me over while we were on the quad, and he was just like, "Do you know who this is?"
And Fields was on it. Fields was on this first. Yeah, I will admit that. Yeah.
So it gives you like seeing somebody else kind of see that same thing too. Like you're like, all right, we're getting confirmation from all over the place that this is the top righty in the class, kind of as it stands right now. Some other risers inside the top 10. Cam Najeski, we'll talk about him a little bit later, but he's one to mention for sure. Ian McClure, I mean, this is one of the top pound-for-pound athletes just in the state, like regardless of class. I mean, he's a 6'3", almost 200 pounds, sub 6'7" runner, so 6'9" runner at the state games, jumped 27 inches vertical. There's some shades of like a Cal Moreau type player here, and I'm not tossing that around. It's that level of like athleticism and size and strength with instead of the infield like Cal, he's more of an outfielder, but it still has up the middle like potential, center field type potential athletically. maybe the swing is a little bit like inefficient right now, but I mean, it's easy, it's simple. Like mechanically, I don't think there's red flags there by any means, but he stands out in terms of like he could easily flourish and become the number one guy in the state, and I don't think that would be a surprise at all in any way.
Absolutely not, especially when you look at the tools that he has. Like you mentioned, the run time, it's 99 EV. There's all sorts of strength and twitch throughout his body. Like, yeah, this is a guy you can get excited about, and heading into the winter and next spring, like one we're gonna track down.
Yeah. And there's a Jeff Francoeur comp for me right here when I take a look at Ian McClure. There's guys. Here's the thing: when you take a look at a player, and maybe you're right, Andy. Just maybe there's some inefficiencies here with the swing, but there's ability to barrel the ball, and then there's some players out there, guys, that can almost overpower the game. They're that strong, they're that twitchy, they're that just athletically, for lack of a better word, superior than the guys that they're playing against. And that's kind of where Ian McClure is right now. And it looks like he's just going to get bigger and stronger and faster. So, there's that kind of potential here with Ian McClure. So, really impressive athlete overall, and just a lot to like.
Yep, and same goes for Eli Hart, next up here on our list. This was the MVP of the second annual Wisconsin State Games. He's really easy to like in the dugout. I felt like being around him. Fields, you and him were talking a lot about just baseball. His baseball feel was really, really high. He clearly thinks about like the at bat, like the next at bat every time. Like he kind of has a philosophy about it. Like that was fun to see and witness and hear. But do you want to talk a little bit more about Eli Fields, just because I know technically he's moved down in this update, but again, we're talking about like at the top we mentioned the margins and how like slim these players are from each other. Like on any given day, these things could move like 5 spots or more, like each of these kids. But we're still enormous fans of Eli's, and I think Fields, you can probably elaborate on why.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, huge fans of Eli. Like, still, we were even, there was a top 3, debate for him. But, just one of the smarter, players in this class, IQ-wise, both defensively, at the plate. Like, his at-bats are phenomenal. And he even took one of our top 26 right-handers in the class yard at the state games. Ended up winning MVP, but just there's some like athletic ability in there that he has yet to tap into, and once that comes, the evaluation is going to change on Eli. But right now, this is just one of those smart ball players that you can expect just to get the job done on the baseball field right now.
And how loose is that swing too, right? I mean, and it doesn't look like he's kind of manipulating anything in terms of like trying to figure out like micromanaging his mechanics whatsoever. It's like a natural flow to that swing. It's in the zone forever. And there's some guys that are almost like too loose. Like you think about a Javi Baez or something like that, and they're almost too loose, and they kind of have to really get it going early, and there's going to be some swing and miss and chase in there, but not with Eli. Like he's loose, but yet he's disciplined at the plate with consistent quality at bats.
Yeah, and I feel I can't remember who he was facing. I felt like it was another good arm, but I think it was one of the last at bats he took or something, that it was just like a 12 pitch at bat or something crazy. I think it ended in like a fly out or something, but it was just a super impressive look at him. I think he had gotten like 3 or 4 hits in that same game, and he was trying to get like a 4th or something, and like he had a crazy long. It was just the latest example of him just kind of being unfazed about maybe like the arm he's facing, an older arm, a really good arm or something, and just being able to kind of put the bat in the ball. That is clearly his strength here, and like Vinny's mentioning too, it's just like a really clean and easy swing. So he's got a ton going for him.
Yeah, on top of that, like you said, going for his 4th hit, like he was in the box thinking, oh yeah, job's not done. It's 11th pitch at bat. Like I'm gonna get a hit here.
Yeah, and he was like frustrated, but in like this healthy way after he like flew out after this really long at bat. Like just little things like that you really like love to see, and you experience, like they're just more rare than you expect them. They're hearing that like level of like maturity plus competitiveness from a younger kid like this. So really bright future there for him as well. So that's kind of like the top 5 or so, I guess, like some notes on those guys. And like I said, we'll share a little bit more on them later on in this episode. But we also wanted to talk about some of the 2028s who are on the rise or maybe debuted inside our most recent rankings update at the end of the summer here, since we didn't get a chance to podcast about those guys and that movement back at that point in time. But that helps because we got some fall looks at this group too. But one of the names here, BSC, Benjamin Smith Cooper, you guys just got to see him yesterday, Sunday, at the Northern Wisconsin Fall ID. But do you want to talk about that performance, just fresh in our minds from yesterday about Benny?
Yeah, I mean, Ben is just one of the more advanced left-handed bats to come through the state, like at such a young age too. Like, I mean, what was it? I can't remember the last left-handed bat we took down in the future games, and we're that like, he's going to get a hit. This is going to be a competitive at bat. He's going to put together a mature at bat here, like as a 14-year-old, and it's only grown since then. Like, Ben started on varsity, performed right away, and we don't generally see that. So it's 100% about this left-handed bat here. There's a ton of strength from there. He drives the ball to all fields already as a freshman, or sorry, sophomore now. So, and defensively in the infield, like, he can pick it at third. Yeah. I mean, there might be some foot speed, question marks there to see if he can, get that range to, stick at that position at the next level. But I mean, right now he can pick it, and any uptick in the foot speed just to take some pressure off of that bat as well.
Yeah, and Nick here, I'll invite you in on it just because you saw firsthand. I think it was his second home run. He homered twice at the state games, which was impressive in its own right. But yeah, Nick, do you want to take us through what you saw from Ben here?
Yeah, it was day 2. He was working a longer at bat, and he took a pitch the other way on the Giants field and drove it over with pretty easy strength. Mm-hmm. I mean, if I can remember, it was a longer at bat, and he was battling, and he drove the outside pitch the other way for his second backside home run of the event. So I was really impressed with the backside strength, especially at that young of an age, to be able to drive the ball with power, with strength to the backside gap.
Yeah, and guys, BSC is not going to be denied, right? I mean, he is. I mean, you talk about a competitor, you talk about a kid that just loves to play, you talk about a kid who, and I talk about it all the time in my pre-workout speech, where you guys, you have to get to your ceiling. That should be the goal, not to play D1, not to get a scholarship, not to get NIL money, whatever. It should be to get to your ceiling. This kid is not going to be denied that fact. He is going to get to his ceiling, and it's going to be impressive when he does. I mean, he already is impressive. The ability to put barrel on baseball is a natural gift that this kid has, and to drive the ball to all fields is just also another gift. I had to kind of work on that. A lot of players have to kind of work on that to be able to drive the ball to the opposite field. This kid kind of has that naturally, a natural swing path to drive it to both sides of the field. I think he'll hit enough where he is going to end up at a program that he wants to end up at, and I know he's got lofty goals. And I do believe in the bat. You have to watch him enough to believe in it, and I think we all have seen it enough. I mean, this kid was just up at the Northern Wisconsin Fall ID up at Green Bay at the Impact Sports Academy in De Pere, and he was 99 exit velos, 94 average exit velos, so he's constantly all over the barrel his entire round. And then, yes, I believe also that if the range is there, he's going to be able to stick at third because the hands are certainly there, and there's enough arm strength right now currently. 84 across the infield, that'll continue to tick up. But it's a natural look with his feet and his hands and how, he just the actions, how he picks a ground ball and completes the play. So I'm a believer in BSC, and I do believe Maddox
or Durst?
Maddox Durst gave him the nickname originally. 3 years ago now? So, we're all fans of the BSC.
Yeah, for sure. I know. I was like, I could keep talking about it, to be honest, just because, like Nick said, and like you said, Vinny, I feel like the backside home run is not so common, so seeing it at any level is pretty impressive. But like on repeat with Ben is like kind of a different level of power. So it's like you get to worry about the defense a little bit less because you're like, okay, even if it is first base, you're cautious about putting the first base label on players because they have to hit that much. And then, but seeing it sort of like proven like time and time again, you're like, all right, I'm less worried even if he isn't able to play third, which not counting him out or anything. It's just there's less caution there. So good stuff out of Ben. Next up, another natural born hitter, Callum Magley here. He moved up in this most recent update. Fields, you wanted to push him up. I mean, I've been a huge fan of his as well, just because he has like the best and bat to ball skill. He's really strong. He could cover the entire plate, like up and down, outside the box, whatever. He is like a professional hitter, to be honest. I wrote here in my notes that like if the Blue Jays needed to hit tonight, 2 outs, tying runs on second base, and I had to pick somebody in the 2028 class, Wisconsin, to drive in the run, it would be Callum Magley at this point in time. But Fields, I know you're a big fan of Callens as well. So you want to chime in?
Yeah, Callen just has hit every time we've seen him this summer, and he's played, at his age level and up. Like, it doesn't matter what arm is on the mound, what pitch type, what handedness, whatever. Callen's just gonna drive a ball in the outfield and probably try and take second on it too. So like, I don't know. He's just a gamer. He loves to play the game. Also, like 3 pitches for strikes in the zone on the mound too, and like there's just a ton of love about Callen here. Mm-hmm. Athlete too as well.
Yep. And positionally, I mean, Fields, where did you see him? Like, because I know his story at the Junior Future Games, I guess is what I'm referencing. But like, second base felt like a pretty good like fit for him. But how did that develop in 2026 or 2025?
Seems like he's still man in the infield, but I mean, down at the Future Games, we used him all over.
Yeah.
I mean, left, right, pitcher, third, short, second, I think too. So like. It's that type of skill set that can still play all over, but he's pretty comfortable at up the middle right of the field right now. It's kind of his natural spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6'5" runner too, right? Is what we got him at, so he could probably go out there and roam in the outfield. But yeah, there's certainly actions here to stick in the infield. Yeah, you just love players that the biggest compliment you can give a player is to say that he's a ball player. You just say that kid's a ball player, right? And that's what Callum Magley is. He just is. He gets it done. There's some guys that just have a knack for getting it done on the field, making something happen for their team, and that's what this kid does. And it's only going to get better.
Yep. Totally agree, Vinny. Another former Junior Future Green, Braxton Thiede here from Jefferson. I thought he made some huge developmental gains in 2025. He just, the swing got better, and he was always this really strong athlete, really compact, like strong kid. But like it was like on the mound, the arm strength was there. Maybe he was still kind of figuring out some secondaries, but you like the fastball and the athleticism and the arm strength. So I think for a little while, I felt like maybe that would be where his future was brightest. But what's changed is like now it's kind of a more simple swing, and he's letting like the strength kind of speak for itself. The bat to ball felt like it improved this year, and I think he had a solid spring, if I'm not mistaken, for Coach Featherstone at Jefferson, and like that's a great group. That's the great hands to be in. But Fields, does that kind of match what you saw firsthand as well?
Absolutely. I mean, you said the swing's kind of like revamped and changed. Like he's just quieted it up and super simple, letting the hands play, and yeah, it's translated, and he's driving the baseball and making more contact now. And also another thing about Braxton is like, yeah, he has this athlete left-handed arm as well, but it's real defense in center in the outfield, and you can project on a center fielder here eventually too.
Yeah, yep, no, that's a great point.
Yeah, and just talk about a competitor. I remember him at the Future Games as well. It's just like this kid wanted it super bad. And he wanted to win. But, yeah, you do love like how – so the actions are just there's super twitchy actions, I think, just all over the diamond, right? The way that he throws, from the outfield, the way that he throws on the mound. There's things that just kind of like stick out in your brain that are like, okay, this kid is just the way he does it, this kid's just going to get it going to get it done, and he's just going to continue to get better. I do like the swing. That rare combination, right, of the right-handed hitter, left-handed thrower. I think there's like very small percentage of players that have played in the big leagues with that. And hey, never know. This kid could be another one of them.
Yeah, it's that level of athlete for sure. So I mean, and you raise your ceiling and your floor when you're capable of playing this kind of defense out in center field as well. So that's kind of a separator for Braxton's as well. So one to keep an eye on. Another one, latest from Jefferson. We've got 2 or 3 Jefferson kids on the 2028 rankings. I think we have another up and comer in 2029. So they do a great job out there. I want to shout them out as well. Another small school kid from Lancaster, Toy Raggets. He debuts on our rankings inside the top 15. I think at number 12 overall. But if there's one thing you could say about our class, this 2028 class in the state, the depth at catcher feels like a standout right away. And Toy is frankly someone we probably should have ranked in our initial rankings update, and like we kind of changed course there, or like fixed that mistake, I guess you could call it, in this latest update, because we got another great look at him at the state games, where he was great defensively. That, like I said, really, really strong. One of the strongest kids on this list, but 79 miles an hour out of the crouch. It's bat speed, strength, torque, hard line drives, like low-lying line drive type guy, but really, really strong. Feels, I mean, this maybe you could touch on just like how this group at catcher feels a little bit different, but then Toy as well, and just how he fits into the rest of the state's catchers that have stood out to this point.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we have at the class, I mean, Pachaka, Czech, and Regatz, I believe, are the top 3 catchers here. I mean, all 3 of them are guys that, we feel really good about them sticking behind the plate, catch and throw, receiving, blocking, the whole package there. Also, I mean, in game, they all handle themselves with the bat. I mean, there's just check boxes and tools across all 3 of these. I mean, Regatz, the run speed and, looking at it first time, like, the athlete may not stand out, but this is a powerful, explosive, in tight areas athlete that, as a freshman, like I said, with I believe it was Jeske back then, but just performed as a freshman right away on varsity too. I mean, what more could you want from a strong right-handed hitting catcher, catch and throw, guy can really defend.
Yeah. And it's a couple of, I know that Andy and Nick, you guys are both born and raised White Sox fans, so you can put a Ron Karkovice comp on Toy right here. Just a phenomenal comp. Just love the swing too. How short it is from a bigger, stronger kid. It's super short and into the zone, and then it stays in the zone forever. This kid's gonna hit. But when you watch the defense as well, it's like, man, this is a natural born catcher. Usually, you can't say that about a lot of guys. It just is. This guy's super athletic, despite being, the bigger body, the bigger frame or whatever, but super athletic and twitchy, gets rid of it. Hands are super soft. Love the look from behind the plate as well.
Yeah, and then when you first say something along the lines of like, he's a big, strong kid, right-handed hitter, I think your first thought or inclination is to think like it's a long swing. He runs into some home runs in game or something like that. With Toy, like I think Fields, you said it perfectly with like explosion in like tight spaces or whatever, because like I think that sums up Toy in my mind perfectly, where it's actually not a super launch friendly swing just right now. He'll run into balls just like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. runs into balls, but it's more of like a low lying line drives like approach, which I think he'll benefit from that right now with his bat to ball, his strength. He's going to create some like hard contact, all gap to gap, and the defense helps separate him, and that's what helped put him all the way up here at number 12 in his rankings debut. Just think it's a really good group of catchers here, one to watch. And like, because we flagged the 2027s kind of early too at catcher, but actually like reflecting on it, I think it was kind of for different reasons, where Jack Spielman and Grady Cheever and like those guys, like they stood out like as like athletes who also were catchers and like had like these upside bats and swings. Where these guys have like maybe a little bit more of a well-rounded type of catcher profile, where those guys could maybe play some different positions and still look the part. Where these guys, they feel like you'd be maybe more confident in the catch first, and then we'll figure out like where the ceiling is exactly offensively. But there's a little bit more confidence, I feel like, with right now at the catcher position with some of these guys.
It's a good point, Andy, because usually it takes hundreds and hundreds of games. They call it in the saddle, right, in order to learn the little nuances of the catching position, right? So you have to receive, you have to block, and you have to throw. Those are the main three kind of tools in your tool set if you're going to be a good catcher. And these guys, all three of those guys that we mentioned already have those, but then it's all the little nuances that it looks like when you watch all three of these guys catch, you kind of pick up on okay, these guys, all three of those things are so ingrained at this point, the catch, block, and throw, receive, block, and throw, that they're already on chapter 10 of the catching manual. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're already figuring the little things out about the position.
Yeah. I think that's totally the separate, because that's the same thing that we're referring to when we with Pachaka, was that he had kind of like this, he was interested in like pitch calling and like things like that. Like he was kind of onto the next like course of, okay, like I know how to do this. I can block, I can receive, I can do these things, but how do I, elevate, my pitch, or how and like those types of questions, and like getting better in those aspects. Like it's pretty much not something that can be trained or taught. To have that level of like interest in that side of the game, I guess is my point. And some of these guys are already bringing that to the table, which is just really impressive. And Toy is just the latest in this group to kind of show that aspect of his game as well. Another just impressive mover athlete, Jacob Madlung from Arrowhead, 6'4", 188 pounds. Vinny, if you haven't, maybe check out his like movement and like defensively, like at 6'4", he's a 6'8" runner, but he moves really, really well on the infield for being this size. And I think that always like stands out. That feels really unique in its own right. So that's a special part of Madlung here. 82 across. We liked it actually in the off season, in the winter, I should say, on the mound a lot. But I actually really think it's sort of shifted into becoming, he's 6'4", he's tall. Maybe that's not, will he outgrow third base or something? I don't know. The way he moves right now, it's like, I don't know. I don't think necessarily that he will. And the right-handed swing, it's simple with bat speed, barrel skills. The fact that he also has those long levers and makes it work at the plate too, feels really interesting here. So he's still in the top 15 for those reasons. It's just a really interesting tool set for a player of his like size. But Fields, do you have anything to add on Madlung?
Yeah, I mean, athletically with that size, and by all reports that we've gotten, and like with our own interactions with Jacob, like he really wants to be good at baseball too, and like it's really good on the mound, really good in the field, at the plate. Like this guy has a kind of a two-way ceiling here, and the offensive potential, on the mound potential is just kind of really off the charts when you take into the fact like his long levers, like you said, Andy, and just really how good of an athlete he is. Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how you can separate him right now in terms of two-way. Like what he showed us on the mound this winter was pretty special actually. But then yes, like if I'm Coach O'Driscoll, I'm thinking, okay, I gotta play him at short, not necessarily stick him over there at third base, just because of how he's able to move around in the on the dirt, and just the actions, the glove, the sure-handedness of it all, and just the smoothness of it all at short. I know it's 6'4", 188 pounds, but man, that is impressive. And then the bat's coming as well. So two-way guy, flip a coin at this point as to if he's going to stick at one or the other. I mean, there very well could be a two-way guy at the next level.
Yeah. Not too many of those 6'4" athletes like running around Wisconsin right now. It's like, so he stands out on his own. And then I believe he had a strong summer statistically too. So it's like kind of getting it done in both aspects as well. So good stuff there from Jacob Madlung. Next guy, Fields, I'll kind of let you take it away with Tyson Resch here, because you were a big fan of his across a couple looks, I think, from this summer, and maybe even before that. But Tyson Resch, just a really strong two-way right now, I think, in the state, but I think you like it on the mound a ton.
Actually, it was my look at Grand Park at him this fall when he was playing with the GRB National upper class. It was actually at the plate too. He took some of the most mature at bats in that lineup, and there's a lot of really good hitters in that lineup, and they were facing a lot of velo, a lot of spin, and Tyson Resch, like you had mentioned, a strong right-handed hitter with a bunch of feel for the game, two-way upside. He was driving balls to all fields and just competitive at bat after competitive at bat. Like, there's a real approach here, and obviously he already has that prerequisite strength, and just like he's a loose moving athlete with some explosive traits. Also on the mound, it's really loose with a low slot and some funk.
Yeah,
it's up
really
to 86
unique,
with a breaking ball.
The situation on the mound.
There's a lot to like here out of Tyson.
Yeah. Yeah, on the mound, he kind of stands out, at least initially on the mound. I think your looks at him in game really help, because getting to see that context of how does he approach this caliber of pitcher, and getting to see those quality of bats pile up. Those just are super meaningful, and that's why going to see games is really important. But on the mound, just one-off looks of him from that tough slot. With secondaries that kind of pair with that same slot and the fastball too, obviously naturally, from that release point, it's going to run, it's going to move, but it feels really, really heavy. If you're kind of leaning into that sinker, kind of refining that side of his game, that pitch profile, he definitely has a really bright future on the mound too.
He has a true sinker slider profile here that really plays off each other horizontally, and I think he could get some big numbers there, 30 inches of separation eventually as well. That's a tough look, especially when you factor in that it's a low slot with some deception as well.
Yeah, I'm not wanting to face Tyson Resch for sure. I mean, even in my physical prime. And then when you see someone that's this twitchy as well, but then also is a loose mover. Talk about another guy that's super loose in his movement patterns, but then is so quick, right? And twitchy. That's what you kind of like to pair with, and then that's going to bode well for his future, just in terms of his hit ability, and then just also a guy that looks like he can drive it to all fields. So really, really a lot to like about Tyson. Yeah. Tyson.
And in this day and age too, just circling back even on I don't mean to bring up the Brewers again this way, but I mean it in the sense of it felt like what they were really, really good at, and the Dodgers too, I guess. But it just, every single guy they bring out of the bullpen or they start, whatever, it just, not only is it good stuff just on its own, it feels like they're also benefiting from, it's a completely different look than the last guy you saw. So you need a lot of different pitchers who throw way different than each other, not just a bunch of ones who are really good but throw the same. And that's not some crazy new idea or anything, but the fact that here's an example, Tyson Resch, of someone who throws from this low slot, and Fields mentioned, he could enter that kind of elite separation range with how substantially both these pitches, slider, fastball, sinker, move in opposite directions. Those just don't grow on trees, I guess, is the point. And so seeing him rise into the top 15, this update kind of just makes sense ultimately.
Yeah.
Some others here. I'll touch on this group of players kind of quickly, and then we'll have some guys chime in. Brady Lauer, a lot like his brother Evan, who just had an awesome year at Germantown, but Brady kind of looks a lot like Evan in stuff, just kind of moxie on the mound. He's really easy to like. Germantown kid again, so they get to plug him right in after Evan graduates for last fall. Cooper Hall, actually, Nick, we'll circle back on him, but Nick specifically wanted to talk a little bit about Cooper Hall from Cedarburg. Ty Rhodey debuted on this list, so after Toy Ragas, he was the highest debuting player on our most recent update. Maybe feels you can chime in on him. Cole Pettijohn, Mason Chittenden, two other players, different players. Cole, more of a compact athlete up the middle, defender, shortstop, second base, with some bat to ball skills, just a solid overall player. who debuted in the top 25. Mason Chittenden from Chippewa Falls, kind of a upside player, 6'2", with sub-7 speed and just like bat to ball skills. It just feels like he's untapped potential like in a player right now. So with that group, maybe Nick, you want to just lead us off actually talking about what you like out of Cooper Hall from the state games, I believe it was.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Cooper Hall. Dominated in his 2 innings of work. I mean, he's a 2028 facing 2027s and 2026s. You don't get to do that often, and he goes in there, gets 2 clean innings, was missing barrels the whole time, struck out 3 in the 2 innings of work. Fastball was 78 to 81, and he showed a curveball at the state games, but he also has a changeup and slider, but he didn't even need to show those. I mean, he was landing curveballs in 0-0 count, started him off 0-0, landing curveballs, and then showing the fastball. I mean, he was spotting all day. Currently is 6 foot, 163 pounds. Yeah, 6 foot, 163 pounds. Wiry athlete and definitely has more room to grow. But, I mean, the maturity on the mound for the 2028 facing these upperclassmen was something that really stood out to me.
Yeah, that's a great call. I think Fields and I have seen Cooper Hall he was another junior future gamer for us, and just another really likable kid and worker. And we've, for all the right reasons, we've not known if he's better on the mound or positionally for us yet. And thankfully, he doesn't even have to know the answer to that just yet because he's talented enough to wing. But getting that look from Nick and that insight there kind of helped make it more difficult, but in the best way possible. Then Fields, you want to mention Ty Roddy too, just because I think you got the best look at him from this summer.
Yeah, we've been hearing about Ty Roddy a lot going back to the spring season. A lot of video we would see making its rounds on Twitter, but really performed for a really talented DC Everest team this spring. But this summer I got to see him at the Rock, and I mean, to me, I didn't get a great look at the defense, but to me, this is all about the bat. It's a left-handed stroke with a lot of strength. I mean, he was flicking balls to the warning track and even off the wall at the Rock. Just a consistent performer, and it looks like he's just unfazed and just super confident in his ability to just drive a baseball to all fields and every time in the box.
Yeah, he was one. I'm glad you mentioned the spring stuff, because I feel like we really do the best job we can at like keeping tabs on players from all over the place. And DC Everest had a great spring, so getting to kind of roster scroll like every day, every time they played, I felt like we were just making sure like, okay, who did what, and Ty Roddy was one of the top performers there, so we were kind of eager to see video as soon as we could and then get our first look at him. Has not been to a showcase yet, so just can't see like metrically how he stacks up, but we didn't know where to put him in this update, but we were just really eager to rank him somewhere because we like the swing just that much, just based off this one tournament look. But it was that good. So frankly, he could be even higher in future updates. We just need some more looks at him, in game, and hopefully we could see, the evergreens or something like that this spring or something. But either way, just impressive short in-person look, but there's a track record here as well for Ty Roddy. Vinny, do you remember Mason Chittenden so he was the Eau Claire kid that we saw in the summer, and maybe you could talk a little bit more on him, because he was one of my favorites that we saw that came from nowhere this summer. So
just showed up, right? Chippewa Falls High School, 6'2", 177 pounds, ran a 6.90. I believe that was best of the day. If not, it was top 3 or whatever of that particular day. Really compact right-handed swing, super athletic. I mean, just twitched up in a total athlete that, like you said, came out of nowhere, but just loved like the no stride swing, just kind of used his hands and then was hitting rockets throughout his round. And then pretty good look from the outfield as well during outfield defense. I mean, 81 from the outfield. Just, this is the type of player that we love to see show up at a showcase and then just kind of like, whoa, yeah, you kind of, perk your ears up and kind of like raise your eyebrows like, who is this? And so that's what kind of puts a player like this on the radar. So that was a really good look from Mason Chittenden, and looking forward to now we will make sure that we are, kind of keeping tabs on what he's doing going forward.
Yeah, which will be a little easier. Well, because Vinny, we might have to send you out to a Chippewa Falls game this spring, because they also got your lefty Sam Bresna. He had a great look at the state games. Speaking of state games too, so yeah, there's a little bit of everything out there for you to check out in Chippewa Falls. So Mason Chittenden's one of them, and then Fields, I'll bring you in too to talk about Cole Pettijohn, just because this felt like a no-brainer, like someone who probably should have been ranked before, but now totally deserves to be inside the top 25 where he is. But I don't know, would you say one of the top performers, I guess, that across our staff?
100%. Yeah. 100%. I leave the field every time thinking, is Cole Pettijohn potentially too low here? I mean, you had mentioned this compact strength guy. I mean, every time I see him, it seems like he grows a little bit too. The frame stands out, especially in the uniform. There's some lean strength throughout his frame, and like I said, he looks like he's still growing. I mean, it's the left side of the infield defender. He's been playing short this fall, and there's some quality looks over there as well. But another just bat that every time we see him, he hits. He's barreling baseballs across multiple at-bats, multiple different arms, different breaking balls, different spin, different velo. It's a lot of history of just really good at-bats and performance from Cole right here.
Yeah, and I feel like that's one of those things too. Over the past however many years, where we've been at the Rock, it feels like those players that, it's are we too low in this guy? Every time we see him at the Rock, he keeps hitting. The players that stick out in my mind that are examples of that are kids who went on to college to really hit. Dom Kibler hit the ground running initially, at Kent State, and he can still really hit. That is not an issue at all. Brady Davidson at Heartland. Those are just two examples just off the very top of my head of they fit this MO of every time we saw them at the Rock or tournament somewhere. They were on base. They just made hard contact somewhere in some way, shape, or form, even if they didn't have this natural positional fit, which it feels like Cole Pettijohn kind of does. So that totally elevates his stock, I think in our eyes. So top 25 here, he's got something to watch. It feels like he's a potential future gamer even. So we'll keep an eye on Cole as we get closer to the spring and see what how he exits the offseason. I think will be kind of important. So good stuff there. Well, I think that sums up some of the 28s we wanted to talk about today, just because we have a full offseason ahead of us here for topics, and I think this group is going to get a ton of attention now that they'll be crossing into the sophomore spring, sure, but then that summer is a really pivotal one for this group, this class. As always, like I mentioned, the future games, and that recruiting being open, a year from now. So, we'll continue to mention these sophomores in the state of Wisconsin as the months and years go on, frankly. So, it's an exciting group. I think we're eager to see, which of these guys that we're talking about here and which we didn't talk about really blow up in the next, 6 months or so. Because there's certainly going to be some that we're not mentioning or maybe aren't even ranked yet that are going to wind up on future games team or even other recruiting coordinators lists without us even knowing about it. Hopefully not, but we'll see. But it feels any other final thoughts here on this group and maybe how these guys are shaping up heading into the winter.
Yeah, I mean the sheer depth of this group at the top is just really fun to navigate and. Like I said, this upcoming winter is generally where a bunch of these big time jumps where the players kind of arrive as these high end prospects. So heading into the summer, doing a lot of prep work, really eyeing in on this class and seeing okay, who are the guys that we're going to need to who are eager to catch up on this winter and this spring. Yep.
100%. Well, because they're going to be, hopefully turning into players like Callan Tomczyk, who, I mean, I don't think we could take direct credit for Callan Tomczyk committing the week after he was the subject of our latest routine report. But
it happens all the time, though. It really does. So But
yeah, South Dakota State, Cal Tomsic, he just happy for him just because he's one of these guys that it's like, how is he not committed yet? He just had that kind of year, like top to bottom. So just super happy for him and just eager to see how he's able to contribute to that program, just because we're all mega fans, especially the way he performed, like in our dugout at the Senior Future Games, and just a super easy to like player who, we were frustrated on his behalf that it took a little while to find a place, but just happy that South Dakota State is the place for him. Jacob Koisman, Mason Horn, both committed from our most recent 16-year Future Games team, Cincinnati, Purdue. We had some WEAC commits. Nico Frankopoulos, who shout out Drew Locascio, Illinois Wisconsin's supervisor. I mean, Nico, you got a major fan in Drew Locascio. Whenever we mention Nico or he sees Nico hit, like at the state games, Drew makes sure to point it out. So, Nico, there you go. Brecken Sheldon, both committed to UW Whitewater. Jason Randolph, another state games breakout kind of player, committed to Madison Junior College. Isaiah Alberg, same boat, another state games performer, Minnesota Duluth D2 program there. Aiden Cole, Jackson Guerrero, UW La Crosse. So, Vinny, you got some extra.
There we go. Let's go Eagles.
To cheer for out there. We had some more as well, so just keep tabs on our social media accounts like Twitter, X, whatever, to learn a little bit more about our most recent commitments, or send us an email or some sort of notification if we skipped yours, and we need to update your profile and get that out on our social media feeds as well. So that's the latest or the last group. It's kind of filling in over the last month or two, just kind of getting more and more attention as these players kind of slow things down and get to go on these visits and so on. So that's the latest out of that group. Koisman too. Maybe we should speak a little bit on Koisman and Horn and their fits, because Purdue committed just last week. Dylan Schreiber, feels like getting Schreiber and Horn, I think, in your incoming class, like that's no joke. That's pretty special, actually. So shout out to Purdue. Fields, you got to take it.
100%. Like Mason Horn, just fill it up. I'm going to challenge you with both my fastball and breaking ball, fill it up in the zone. I don't care if there's, base runners on. I'm going to get 3 outs, and we're going to put up a 0 and get back in the dugout. That's what Mason Horn is.
Yeah, super competitive kid, right? And always the younger brother, right? So Braden was a pretty good competitor as well. And so now Mason taking that to the next level. That's a good get by Purdue for sure. Both those guys.
Yeah, and with Cincinnati too, like we talked about it last week, so we won't mention it too much here. But just Koisman has some pretty special potential. So a place like Cincinnati, there's a lot that they can get out of Jacob as he continues to grow and progress, and add strength. A place like college feels like a perfect environment for him to just continue to work and kind of blossom. So I think that fit makes a lot of sense on paper too. So really eager to see what Koisman is able to do with the rest of his high school career. But, when he gets to college as well, Cincinnati feels like a great fit for him. So congrats to all of those mentioned. And we'll take us to here, Camden Jeske, Routine Report. We didn't mention him for this reason at the top, but so Vinny, you want to talk a little bit about how this Jeske rose within our most recent update?
Yeah, I mean, just what a look from Camden Jeske at the state games. 6 foot, 154 pounds. I mean, this kid looks like just kind of like a baby deer a little bit. Not the way that he's not the way that he moves by any stretch of the imagination, because this kid can play. He can run. It's a 7.2 runner currently, but that he's going to continue to get more twitchy and get quicker with that 60 time, and he can really go out and get it in center field. I reference kind of the baby deer just in terms of the body is going to fill out. This kid is going to be a big, strong kid who's going to be able to hit bombs to both sides of the field. It's a smooth left-handed swing. You love how he gets the barrel to the baseball, stays in the zone forever, and it's short into the zone as well. So there's a lot to like about Camden Jeske, and he is one of the top risers in the class of 2028. Goes to Oak Creek High School, and we are really looking forward to him this winter and then coming up into the spring as well.
Yeah, it's the exact type of swing that I think if you're standing there as like a college coach or something, like it's the swing that you circle left-handed with in a frame that's only going to get bigger and stronger, like Vinny mentioned, and he's got some two-way in him too. Like so, I think we like him as a center fielder. Fields, why don't you talk about how you saw, because you've got a great anecdote on Jeske from the spring.
Yeah, so I saw, I think it was 3 at-bats against, Kenosha Tremper Oak Creek matchup. It was Ethan Bauerschmidt on the mound, and Jeske had worked his way to, I think, the top of the spot of the order leadoff hitter. Man, it was, Ethan Bauerschmidt now, killing it over at Penn State this fall, doing really well for himself. So it was a really competitive arm, really tough matchup for a freshman, but 3 quality at-bats. I mean, not a lot of swing and miss, and even drove a double off of Bauerschmidt's secondary. I believe it was a changeup. So there's not a lot of holes in this swing, and being able to hit advanced stuff and just like advanced like pro like level stuff is just, for a 28, is just really special, and something you circle and you want to circle back and just keep getting new refresher looks on it.
Yeah, I think that's a great note. You don't see at bat like of any age level at bats like that against an arm like Bauerschmidt's, and you can't help but like never forget Jeske's performance in a game like that. So I think that memory, coupled with the fact that he had a strong summer and just his performance at the state game was, if anything, just like a cherry on top or something. But he moved up in our latest update to the 2028 rankings, and he's another one for sure that feels like if he ends as the top overall prospect in this class, like it would hardly be a surprise. So Camden Jeske, Oak Creek, they were really young last year as well. So I mean, I'd be really interested to see how they look in 2026 here in the spring, because they got a ton of good things working for them, including head coach Scott Holler. So shout out to Scott, and shout out to the WIAA, which is already kind of around the corner in a way.
Yeah, it is.
Make a mention of that. But that's like our favorite time of year. All right, boys. Well, I don't have a fun outro or anything. Not that I normally do, but I think that sums us up for this week. Fun class of 2028. It'll be fun to follow these guys. Lots of room for growth and development, and we'll be right there to watch it along the way. So appreciate you guys listening. Thanks on our behalf, and go Wisconsin baseball.
And don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you guys.
Please. Yes.
See you guys soon.
We'll see you.
Thanks for listening to the Badger State Ball Podcast. To keep tabs on our latest events, rankings, and coverage, subscribe or follow the show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, and follow us over at PrepBaseballWI on X and at PrepBaseballReport.com/Wisconsin. Until next time.